In this one, we're going to look at every tank that I own. So we're going to go in the fish room and we're going to look at the tanks in the house as well. But it's been a while since I've done a full fish room tour. And I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that I was just waiting to get it more settled. And I've done a few videos in between showing you what we've been doing. But let's get right into it. We are going to do the fish room first and then we'll go out into the house and look at the two tanks out there. It's going to be one of those videos where we just walk round. There will be lots of glare, but I just want to give you an idea of what the fish room's looking like, and if there's anything that you haven't already seen or updates on stuff, we'll do all that, and we'll just generally talk about what is next for my fish room. So, I want to show you something first. I've got my first house plant, and this is a Monstera. So I'm growing it in the pot, and I've had it, well, probably about, not that long, just over a week, and it's quite good. I've been doing a lot of research on it, so anyone who keeps Monstera plants wants to give me any advice, feel free. But yeah, it's not staying there, it's just on my table at the moment. We just need to do some moving about and get it a better place, like maybe in this corner or something. But yeah, that's over the next few days we're going to do that. This is my food. I get really excited about this food. This is tropical algae disc. Now there's two tubs because that one on top is just about to run out and I have ordered another one. This is quite an expensive food, but my L95 absolutely loves it. A lot of my fish love it, but it's the food that he will eat the most of, if that makes sense. So it's worth spending the money on. You do have to have it. If you're in the UK, you have to have it shipped from Germany. But yeah, get excited when I get a new order of that. I'll get a big tub, so it makes it worth my while from a price point of view. But anyway, let's start looking at the tanks and what's going on. So we've featured this tank a hell of a lot lately. This is the Heckelai Geophagus Satanaperca tank, and this is the same as it was last week. I love this tank. I am absolutely in awe of this tank. I think I said that, and it's amazing. There's nothing new to tell you because, like I said, you've seen it. That is going to stay like that. There'll be no more fish going into this tank after I added this beautiful Heckelai, which has settled in really well. I noticed that the albino Heckelai, in particular this one here, his only reason he's not doing it now, I say in here, I think it's he, is because he thinks I'm going to feed it. But been digging on that spot, so we'll see what happens there. If I do add anything to this tank, it would only probably be Corydorus or something like that. So yeah, down below, let's get down below to trigger. So I haven't done any water changes on any of my tanks for 2 weeks. So look at the state of the algae on that. You're getting it laid bare in this video, guys. Trigger, this, again, Trigger is just the same. He is his same usual self. No change there, but it's always nice to see him and feature him. I'm still like I was when I did the video about a month ago. I'm still undecided on what to do with him. You know, it's the situation is, he's my wet pet. I've had him for, what is it? I'm in the fifth, I think it's nearly 5 years. I think it is 5 years. I'm not sure that I've had him. But again, I look at this tank nowadays and I think, well, I could do so much more with it. You know, it's probably not big enough for him, but at the same time, imagine what I could do with this tank. So yeah, he's still here and he's still looking as stunning as ever. I forgot to say as well, I don't know if anyone noticed, there's a tub there. So this tub has basically got those 2 spare Waru. There's a couple of white Saum in there as well, and 1 Aquadens. The reason they're in this tub is because I'm taking them to the local fish shop. Now, I'm just going to move them on to the local fish shop. But yeah, I've just put them in there so I'm ready to move them. These tubs are brilliant. I've said it a million times. What my plan is, so if you look down there, there's a gap in the stand there. And I've also got a gap in the stand there. What I'm thinking of doing is setting a couple of tubs up. I'll probably get a bigger one and a better see-through one than that. And just throwing a load of moss in and maybe putting some live bearers in there and just leaving them to do their thing, and you know, maybe put them in and then check back on them after a while, see if we've got any young growing out and what have you. Just you know, that's something I've got in my mind. Just maximising the space and trying something a bit different. So anyway, what else have we got? So this tank here has got my pair of Parachromis multifasciatus in. There's the male, there's the female. It's also got the silver dollars. I am selling the silver dollars, I've just not got around to doing it yet. Like I said, there's been no water changes in the fish room. I am being a bit lazy when it comes to the fish room, but there's been stuff going on. You know, things, you get periods of time, don't you? And I get them, you know, where it gets really busy, whether that be with family, work, whatever, you know, especially in the summer. You know, myself and Joe go and do a lot of hiking in the summer. So yeah, the pair are still doing great. The tank, the reason they're in this tank is because the male was getting pretty beaten up by the male Nicaraguan in the other tank. So this tank only had the silver dollars in, so I thought, you know what, I'll put them in here just for now. Check out what's down below. There is actually a pair of Crebensis in here. I bought these Crebensis ages ago, and if you look, can you see there is a load of fry? Now, there's a lot of fry in there. I wanted to put something in this tank. Do you remember it was the Salvini cichlid pair that were in this tank, and he killed the female, or we lost the female. I assumed he killed her, and I moved the Salvini into the Central American tank, which left this spare. So when I was at Premier Aquatics a bit back, I just bought these as a filler. Now, what my plans are I'm going to move these two tanks into that corner there. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push them that way into that corner there. So it'll leave a gap here for about 2 foot, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe 30 inches. And then I'm going to get a rack that's probably about 4 levels high that will sit on this side of these tanks. So they'll be pushed over there, and then there'll be a rack that's about 4 levels high going up there, and I'm going to put some smaller tanks. So obviously I'll put this tank on there, and this tank here is my Apistogramma Narceni tank. There's the female, you can see the female there. The male will be in there somewhere. And what's happening with my plants, you'll have seen it's evolved massively since you last saw it. When I think I last featured this tank, there was the Ludwigia had just basically melted away, hadn't it? And I was just with the wisteria, which is, see the wisteria there at the back, and I've added some Amazon swords. I've put some Anubias on the wood, and I did show you that plant there in the last, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and that's grown as well. So some of the Amazon swords are actually dying off, but I believe that is part of the process. So we've just got to let it happen and look for new growth, I believe. Like I say, guys, I am still learning. I've done a lot of research on plants, but I still feel like I've got to do a lot more. This plant here is ormwort, and there's some guppy grass. So I've just shoved a load of plants in there. I have watched a couple of videos where, you know, the people who do this all the time said, just throw your plants in, put loads of plants in, see how it goes. And there's a valve there as well. So yeah, it looks really good. It looks really good, and it could probably be set out better. But at this moment in time, there's the male. See the male there? There's the male Narceni. It could be better. I think what I need to do with this tank is probably get some corridoras so I can throw some more food in and get the nitrates up. So I believe that I need to raise the nitrates in this tank. So yeah, it does look good, but again, these plants need to regenerate is I think the word that I should be using. So yeah, that's the planted tank, and I'm looking forward to getting this corner changed around. We will obviously maybe have to do something different with the Parachromis multifasciatus because they can't really stay in this tank. They're okay for now. So yeah, anyway, that's all to come. Then we've got these, which I think I showed you already, the young angels. These are young marbled angels, and I don't know if you can see in the background there is some calico plecos. I think there's about 20 calico plecos in this tank. They hang around underneath the sponge filters and in the caves. but there's 8 marbled angels which are bred from that big pair of marbled angels, which you'll see later on in the video. There's, yeah, look, there's one now. See it there? There's one of the calico bristlenose plecos. So, yeah, that's that tank. And then we've got this part here. So this is the Central American Community tank. How beautiful is he now? That Salvini, he is coming on an absolute tree. What a fish he is, honestly. And if you look at the other one in the background, you remember about a year ago I got these from Wharf Aquatics. I got 6, I'm now down to 2, and the 2 males. But that male there, I'm in love with this fish. Also, my convicts, my pair of convicts are doing really well, and I love them as well. And then there's a pair of Nicaraguan cichlids. So the dynamics in this tank is okay. You know, they, don't get me wrong, they can kick off, but as you can see, fins and tails are fine. The dynamics are okay. When I had the Parachromis multifasciatus in here, this male and female Nicaraguan cichlid were giving him a lot of jip, and he was hanging around the top of the tank a lot. And then I noticed his tail had been damaged, so I just took him out because I don't want to lose them. Even, especially with the Parachromis multifasciatus, if I don't keep them, I need to make sure someone else has them because there's not many of them in the country. But yeah, this pair of Nicaraguans, I mean, of late, look at his nucleum. His nucleum has really grown. He is really dominant. He is a stunning fish. Now, I did allude to it in the last video. I got this from Bill. Bill at Bill's Cichlid Room reached out to me and gifted me this fish. This fish came from Max Cichlids. So he's F1, which is obviously firstborn to the wild parents. And he chose that female out of the 2. So these are now a pair. I have not had any breeding action from them. Might be because it's a community, they might not want to do that. They did go through the actions for a long time, but they don't do it at the moment. And I'm not really bothered because I don't really want to be breeding Central American cichlids anymore, if I'm honest. Because there is not many people want them in the UK. They're not easy to sell. And they're not really worth anything. So I've enjoyed what I have bred, you know, I've enjoyed what I've grown on. I have bred Nicaraguan cichlids before, so it's not something that I need to tick off, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is the Central American tank. Let's go down to this tank. This is the South American tank, and I always call this the South American tank. Most of my fish tanks are South American tanks at the moment, but if you remember, this is the tank that's got the Brasiliensis in. My group of 5 Brasiliensis are still going strong. I've got all 5. That's the biggest one there. Honestly, these are a really nice fish. I can't wait till they really get some size and they start pairing off, hopefully. We've also got the aquadens. We've got the true parrots. I don't think I've showed you the true parrots quite a lot on this video, but there's the bigger one. There's the other one. I tell you what, we'll throw some food in this tank because, as you can see, they're all looking for food, so we'll get some in the tank. So I'm just going to throw some fluval bug bites in for them. And get a good look at those true parrots. That bigger true parrot's grown quite a lot. It's done really well, to be honest. I mean, it was a lot bigger than the other true parrot when I got them, so it's not as if it's outgrown it, but it's just looking good. It's growing really well. I actually had the panda waru in here as well, if you remember, but they're now in the other room. I want this tank, I want to really concentrate on growing these Brasiliensis out. Obviously, these are known as pearl cichlids for anyone who doesn't know, but a fish that a long time I wanted to keep, so it was nice when I got a group. Like I say, that one is the biggest one there, and he's about 4.5 inches. So yeah, I did have them green plastic plants, but I took them out to wash them because they kept getting really badly affected by the algae in here because of this window on the left. As you can see, that light through the left does create algae in this tank. So I moved it into the waru tank, which I'll show you in a minute. That aquadens is stunning, isn't it? So yeah, that is the bottom tank, which is the South American tank. So I'm just throwing this camera about. I think I've showed you everything in the fish room, and it's really hot in here. I have my radiator, which I changed to heat in the room. Well, I don't know when it was when everyone panicked about the electricity, but it has saved me money, if I'm honest with you. But it does get hot in here when you're in here. Tell you what, should we feed these as well while we're at it? So again, I'm just going to use the fluval bug bites. I don't think you've seen it yet. straight onto it. Stunning them, aren't they? I love this tank. I don't keep saying it, keep going on with myself, but I think I've thrown quite a lot in there, but Geophagus will sort that out. So, but yeah, how stunning. And like I said, as you can see, that new Heckelite has settled in a tree. Look, he's eating, he's mixing, he's eating, all good. Got quite a bit of pothos growing out in here as well. So we're trying to grow the pothos out. Got a few pothos plants. And yeah, and going back to this Monstera, you can grow this in your fish tanks as well. It's only certain types you can grow, and this is one that you can grow. So I may even learn how to take a cutting from that and put it in this tank as well. But they're doing really well. But anyway, let's get out into the house and look at the two tanks out there, and then we can get this video wrapped up because it's going on quite a while. Oh, it's a lot cooler out here, believe me. I was sweating in there. This is the Waru tank. And if you notice what I've done, I came up with an idea. I thought the piece of wood on the right here looked a bit tacky. So what I've done is I broke it up and basically spread it across like that. I mean, look, so like I said, no water changes for a couple of weeks, right? And check out all this wood that's been stripped. This is what plecos do to your tank, guys. So if you want your tanks to be immaculate, then don't have plecos. This is my L27 that's done that. He has stripped the hell out of this wood in this tank. So I need to get that out. It is water change day today, and over the weekend I do it over 2 days at the moment. But I do, I mean, all these look, they look really stressed out. All in a bit of group there. I'm not long since put the lights on, but anyway, that's the Waru tank. We featured it last week, so we'll move on into the other room. But yeah, that's what plecos do to your tanks, guys. Last but not least, we have got my community tank, which is in my front room. This is planted with that Alodia densa, which again, some of it's come out. If you remember, tongue-in-cheek in my video when I got back from my holiday talking about issues with algae, which was just a bit of tongue-in-cheek. We got it cleaned up and it looks a lot better now. Again, this tank hasn't been water changed for a couple of weeks. Those Laticara aguirre are sensational, and the little checkerboard cichlids are awesome. We've got the black neon tetras, and we've also got the Hoplo catfish, which are albino Hoplo catfish. Again, another tank that I like. This is a tank that I love to sit in front of. What I tend to do at night is, when everyone's gone to bed, I'll go into the fish room, turn all the lights on except for the geo tank, spend a bit of time in front of that and the echolize, and then I'll come in here in the pitch black with just this light on, and I'll spend 10-20 minutes in front of this one, and that just chills me out, to be fair. But yeah, that tank's really settled well now. You know, we've featured it quite a few times, so you know what's going on with this tank. And the Alodia densa does grow. In fact, if I'm honest with you, the last couple of weeks it hasn't grown as fast. So obviously that's something to do with nutrients or something in the water. Although I've noticed my Anubias is growing okay on that rock. So yeah. But anyway, guys, I am working a lot with people who keep plants. I don't just, you know, I am someone who can wings some of it, but I've got some nice people helping me out with this, with me getting into plants. And you know what? It's not easy, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And I can't wait to get those tubs to start trying something a little bit different with the live bearers and obviously mosses and stuff like that. But anyway, it's time to wrap this one up. And that is all my fish tanks as promised. So yeah, lots going on. We are now settled down, and I'm really happy that I'm back in the better mood when it comes to my actual fish. So many new things for me to learn, so many new things to keep me going, because I don't know about you, but in this hobby, sometimes for me, I get bored. I get bored easy. My distraction level is really short. As you will have seen, the way I've changed and chopped fish and stuff like that. And I'm kind of like Shiny Ball. That's just my take. That's my way. But to keep myself sort of like engrossed and interested, I have to change things now and again. And I have to learn something new. So plants and mosses and live bearers is something very new. So I'm going to try that. And what's great is you can use those boxes. But anyway, guys, I'm droning on. So I'll say a massive thank you for all your support. Massive thank you. I do appreciate all the love, all the support you guys give me. And that's me. I'm going to call it a day, and I'll see you all on the next one.